How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh, Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and I have a very special video for today. We're going to go over setting up and taking down a ground blind and where you would want to set up a ground blind for hunting deer. With me today is Meredith. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sean.
So Meredith is in the Field to Fork program this year in 2025, and I happen to be her mentor.
Yeah.
We met up probably a couple years ago at church. She goes to my church, and very excited to have the opportunity to mentor her in the Field to Fork program. Real quick piece on that. Field to Fork is a national program to teach people how to hunt deer, process it, bring it to your table and eat it, and not just deer, but even turkey and other game. Well, for our focus in this year is for bow hunting for deer. So Meredith is excited to join the program, and the people over at Tidewee reached out to me recently asking me if I would be interested in doing a video on one of their ground blinds, and I said, well, would you be willing to give me a ground blind to give to this new hunter named Meredith, who's in the Field to Fork program? And guess what? They were very excited to do that. So this is going to be yours to take home today.
Wow, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Surprise. So here we go. Let's talk about setting it up. First thing you're going to want to do, Meredith, and all of you out there, obviously, is take the ground blind out of the packaging. So it's a matter of unzipping. I'm also going to mention that we're in the outdoors, and we have a lot of ticks this time of year, so it's a great idea to spray down with some. I use DEET bug spray on my shoes, on my pants, and if I'm not wearing like my mucker boots, then I pull my pant leg up and spray my socks too, just to keep the ticks from getting you, because you just don't want Lyme disease or some other disease. So we're going to take the ground blind out. And I usually keep, actually, and there is stakes in here. It is a little bit of a windy day today. It's good to keep an eye on your stakes. These could fall out of the bag and you accidentally leave them. So keep an eye on them. For right now, we're gonna leave them in the bag, and I wanna keep an eye on my bag. I'm gonna show you a little tip that I use in the ground blind with that bag in just a minute. So Meredith, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna undo the strap, and then we're gonna open up this ground blind. We're gonna let it kind of fall out. And we want the roof first. So the top of the ground blind, which is here, there's a circle strap in here. We're gonna grab a hold of that, and I hold the blind out and I pull on that strap until it pops through. You need a little bit of force on that. So then you pick it up a little bit. These walls, before you start pulling on the walls, you wanna push these away. See how that just dropped down? If you try to pull the walls out before dropping that down, it's not gonna go. Those wall legs are not, or the supports in here need to be pointed down. So then once they're pointed down, we grab the strap in there and we just pull it out. And we're gonna work our way around the blind doing that. It's fairly simple. In this situation, we're gonna pretend that we're gonna be hunting this spot. What we want to do is push this back into the weeds and brush as much as possible to get concealed. If this was private land, Meredith, what I would do is I'd say, Meredith, let's bring a weed whacker out and clear out a spot that just fits the footprint of the ground blind, and we're going to slide it in, so we're going to have good coverage and concealment from the natural environment. In this case, though, let's pretend we're going to be hunting public land, so we don't have the ability to do all that. I'm going to find the door side, which in this case is right here. I'm going to spin it to the back of where we're going to be hunting, and I'm just going to pull it up in tight to these weeds for now. But if we were in a hunting situation, we'd probably look for a weak spot in the brush. So right now it's real thick all through here. Sometimes you'll find like areas that are just pushed back in a little bit. I'm going to look for that to tuck the ground blind in. But for today's example, we're just going to put it here, and we're going to pretend that we're hunting deer that we're hoping are going to cross out over in here. So we have a backdrop. We're not silhouetted with the ground blind. So Meredith, let's go ahead and I'm going to put these in the ground blind, and then we're going to get into the ground blind.
Wow, it's completely see-through.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
amazing.
I hunted so many years without one of these, and it's brutal because you can't see what's going on out there. Yeah. You're like, did I hear something? All right.
Okay.
So Meredith, what I like to do when I get into the ground blind is I want to get basically all set up, and then I want to get quiet. I like to use a little stool, something like this, when I'm in the ground blind. So I'm right-handed. So I shoot right-handed, which means I'm going to be drawing on where you're at, this
Yeah.
side. So I usually like to set up in this corner of the ground blind so that I have all this movement, all this can happen out in here. I'm not like hitting a wall because I'm up against it. So what I like to do is I take my little stool, which, you know, I just put it right in the corner here and I watch like this. And as you just said, these are see-through ground blinds. So you can, I like to just have open my shooting window and keep the other ones kind of closed because it is possible for the animals to see you if that window's open. Right now, they can't see us through the sides, but we can see them, okay? Also, just to answer any question, are these waterproof? The roof is waterproof. The rain can get through, there's little holes in the walls, but I don't get wet because the roof has that canopy cover there. Also, if you ever are in a rainy situation, it's good to open up the ground blind at home and let it air dry so it doesn't get moldy and stuff like that.
All right.
Okay, so one other thing that I like to do is when I see deer coming, and here's what I like to do with, I use the bag for this. I lay it down in front of me here where I'm going to kneel. So I'm tall and I'm going to shoot from a kneeling position. So I put it right here where I'm going to kneel, and so that keeps my knees from getting all muddy. And the reason why that's kind of important is you don't want things distracting you at the time of a shot. So like if you kneel down and all of a sudden your knees start getting real wet and muddy, that can distract you and you got to focus on the shot. So I like to use the case. So what I do, so I don't knock this down, is when deer are coming, I'll put the stool out of the way, nice and quiet. So that way I'm not clinking in it. I'll kneel on the bag, and Meredith has her bow here. We're going to have her do a little test here in a second. I like to just see, okay, I draw back, make sure my finger's behind my release trigger, and I want to make sure that I have enough clearance so that my arrow is going out of the ground blind. I've talked to so many guys who have shot through their ground blind because they weren't paying attention to that detail. So you want to make sure, am I going to have clearance? Can I see my sight well? Is my arrow going to clear the blind? If not, I want to push the blind down more and check again. So Meredith, I'm going to switch spots with you, and I'm going to have you sit in the stool as if you're hunting right now.
Okay.
And then we're going to have you just practice drawing and see how that feels, okay?
Okay.
And see how the clearance is. Now, it is possible to shoot from a sitting position. If you want to do that, I recommend practicing shooting from a sitting position. I also recommend practicing from a kneeling position just so that you're used to it. Even if you have an opportunity to set up the ground blind, practice shooting at a target, do that so that there's no surprises when that moment of truth comes and that nice deer standing right in front of you. So want to go ahead and just pop on your knees first. So actually, let's see, have you stand up. You can almost stand up. You'd probably still have to squat to shoot out of here. You could play around with that during the summer. But for today, let's just have you kneel down for a second and have you bring that up and just see if you can make clearance.
Okay.
You can go ahead and draw back. Just keep your finger behind the trigger.
Yep.
We got a steel building right behind us here that.
Okay.
All right, so imagine there's a deer. So yeah, you'd have good arrow clearance there. So the blind is good in that regard. All right, you can ease down. So that gives you the sense of like, okay, I'm gonna clear, I'm good to go. And then I usually just sit down. I have a little bow holder that stakes into the ground. I didn't bring that today, but I'll show you that at some point this summer. So, any questions?
So, do you ever bring down the sides?
Yes. If I think there's a good chance I'm going to have a shot, I will open it in advance, but I'm also going to be careful because I can be spotted. Okay, anytime you have a window open, you can be spotted. So I'll only open the side that I think I may have a shot. There may be a situation where the deer surprise you, but these windows, let me zoom in on this for a second here, but they're pretty quiet.
That is
These are
amazing.
pretty nice. There's just a little thing here. If you if you push that nice and quiet, nice and slow, it's pretty quiet. And you could shoot out there, or you can lower the whole or open the whole thing. It's all up to the hunting situation. Like, where do I think the deer are going to be? I try to keep one window open where I think my primary shots, but I'm ready to go. If I'm ready to open a window if I have to, but you're going to want to move very slowly. Now we're going to do a little something. We're going to have Meredith. I'll take this down real quick, and then we're going to have Meredith put it up and take it down so that she's comfortable with it. Also, I'll say this: there is that little bag of stakes that we have in here somewhere. If you have a really windy day, you're going to want to stake this down just like you would a regular tent. You can stake down through the corners, and then get a piece of cordage, and right at the hub here, there's the thing you pull. You'll tie a rope off and stake that into the ground, and that way the wind doesn't blow the sides and stuff like that. So generally, when it's really windy, I'm not usually hunting because the wind can really affect the arrow flight. So when it's real windy, I'm not usually out there anyway. So, all right, Meredith, we're gonna have you take it down and set it up.
All right.
All right, for takedown, we're gonna basically do the opposite. We're gonna do the walls first and the roof part last. So we'll just go ahead and walk around, pop those in. Then the roof. Now, if you remember, I had to push these down to get a good sit open. I'm actually gonna kind of do the opposite. And
your chair's in there.
Yep, gotta get the chair. Runaway chair. All right. Let's bring this over into the middle. So in the pack up process, keep grabbing my, put this around. You know, obviously this end is gonna go easier into the bag. So that's gonna go first. I usually just shake it down in there. And then, any kind of backpack or anything with a zipper, I always try to pull the zipper together so it doesn't break. It really adds to the life of the zipper. All right, Meredith.
All right.
Show us how to do it.
My turn. So first, unzip it.
If you ever forget any steps, there is instructions on that white sheet right in there. Yep.
All right. Easy to read. Okay. Then unclip it.
Boom.
All right. Then I'm looking for the top somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. And then.
This is a little tricky part.
Yeah.
You could even step on, if it's going to make it easier for you, you can even step on one of the corners.
Okay.
Right here. Put your foot on that. And then hold like one of those, and then maybe the opposite one if you can, and pull that out. Gotta muscle it.
Yep.
Doom.
Okay. Now we're gonna push the legs down.
Yeah. There you go. Keep working it around like that.
Yep.
Because if you get one and not the other, it's still gonna give you difficulties. Just put your foot on one and pop the other one down. Yep. There you go. That's it.
All right.
A little bit more. There you go.
Oh, there we go. I felt it click.
Yep.
I'm also going to say for you viewers out there, if you want to track Meredith's progress throughout this upcoming hunting season, make sure you stay tuned to my channel because she's going to be appearing. We're going to try to get her on video, see if we can get her harvesting her first deer. And also, if you want to get one of these Tide Weed ground blinds, there is a discount code in the description section of this video. You can check that out.
Sorry I made it look too easy. There you go.
All right.
Now, when you're in a hunting situation, it is possible to pull it out slowly so it makes a minimal amount of noise. But for today, you can just get used to getting it there, popping it through. So this summer, you can practice with this and just kind of get used to it. And then you can kind of be mobile. We're going to be checking out some public lands, possible spots for you. All right.
All right.
Now that you got it set up,
Okay, then I'm gonna
let's
tug
have
it
you
back.
take it down.
Take it down. All right. So going backwards the same way we did it.
Yeah,
So push in the walls first.
yeah. Nice.
Okay. It seems like it almost kind of folded
Yeah.
by itself on the bottom. I'll push that.
Good. Sometimes you
Back
get
down.
luckier than others. Sometimes the ground blind will work with you and go right to where it needs to, and other times that you might have to feel like you're fighting it.
Okay.
There you go, you're getting
I'm
it.
gonna pull these legs in.
Yeah. You gotta hunt for that strap.
Yeah. All right. There it is.
I tell you, these ground blinds are just so nice. Being able to see through them like that and everything.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some good hunts, I bet. There
There
you
we
go.
are. And then back to the bag. And put the ends in first. Oh, came and clipped on me. There we go.
Yeah, I like to stand up and shake it down in
Shake
there.
it
yeah.
down.
Nice job. Ta-da!
There we go. Ready to go.
All right. We're ready to go, man.
We are.
Let the hunting season start.
Yes.
You know what? I should also say this because I know you were talking a little bit about turkey hunting this year.
Yeah.
This is great for turkey hunting, and you can actually set this up in the middle of a field. Turkeys don't seem to be bothered by this. You put out a few decoys, and they just get locked onto those. So it's a total different thing. But
Okay.
just keep that in mind. When it comes to turkey season, another great tool.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, take care and God bless.